Jobexi's top 20 NES titles from my collection. 20! Wood and Water Rage. The first half is fun, the other half is completely impossible. Number 19. Tetris. Tetris with hats. 18. Dr. Mario. Fun! I'm bad at puzzle games. Boo. 17. 1942. Excellent top-down shooter. Bit difficult. And 16. 1-6. Ice Climber. Unique platformer. I don't like that bird at the end, though. B15. High Speed is a video pinball game for the NES, modeled after a real-life pinball game named, you guessed it, High Speed. This game includes 2 minigames and a ton of cool power-ups. Power-ups in my pinball? Yes, please. 14 coming at ya. Anticipation, Nintendo's first video board game. It's Pictionary meets... Actually, it's just Pictionary. Section 13. Rad Racer 2 starts off difficult and only gets harder. It has plenty of cars on the road that would like nothing more than to see you eat a tree. Have fun. Like 12 different kinds of nachos. Track and Field, the classic Olympics game for the NES, with 10 events to master and world records to set. Be prepared to mash some buttons. 11. Pinbot, another video pinball game for the NES, is also modeled after a real-life pinball table named, you guessed it, Pinbot. The boards change color, you have to collect planets, the ball turns into cheese, and this... worth checking out. Number 10. Marble Madness is an arcade game that I would consider to be a predecessor to Super Monkey Ball. The objective is to guide the marble down to the goal. There are several different tracks, many obstacles, and even a multiplayer mode. I've only beaten the game once, but for standing the test of time, this game makes number 10 on my list. Number 9. As far as NES billiards go, Lunar Pool is top of the line. In terms of story, I suppose we're playing pool on the moon. If that were all, I imagine the game would probably be boring, but the fact is that there are 60 different tables and you can manipulate friction. There are normal pockets, half pockets, quarter pockets, and you only have so many shots before the game is over. I've played this game from my childhood and it's still fun today, which is why this game finds itself as number 9 in this list. Number 8. Star Tropics is the first adventure-style game in this list, and at my number 8 spot, you shouldn't be surprised that it's very good. You play as Mike, a yo-yo-wielding teenager who must rescue his uncle from the claws of something. I'm not saying it's aliens, but yeah, it was aliens. This game was an amazing game when I was younger. The game included, inside the box, a little letter which you had to dip in water to reveal a secret code to allow you to progress further in the game. Who thinks of that? That's like alternate reality gaming stuff in 1980. Totally ahead of its time. Of course, if you bought it used like I did and you didn't get the letter and you had to look it up online, it kind of ruined the experience. But hey, for those kids who got it firsthand, that's probably an amazing experience. And that's why this game takes number 8 on my list. Number 7. Bobble, the classic arcade game for the NES. You play as Bub and Bob, who are taking an amazing journey to the Cave of Monsters. It's the beginning of a fantastic story. Okay, it's actually not that good. It's pretty good. It's my number 7, but it's... Okay, I have my qualms. You can't actually beat the game unless you're playing with 2 players, but this game is pretty fun. You have to shoot bubbles out of your face and capture monsters in the bubbles and pop the bubbles, and if you pop a bunch of bubbles, you get like big gems and stuff, and fruits and vegetables come out. These candies and magical umbrellas that transport you a whole bunch of letters, and the spell extend and you get stuff. It's good. It's good. Let's give it a try. It's good. Bobble. Number 7. Number 6. Cubicles is a top-down ice manipulation game. The goal is to kick ice blocks to access red bags of money or whatever's in those red bags. I never really questioned it. This was one of the first games that I had as a child. In fact, I can remember the day I walked into the Funko Land. Yes, they had Funko Lands back in the day. I walked into the Funko Land, and this was the one game that they had set up in the display case, and I played that for about 20 minutes, and I was like, you know what, I just need to have this game. So I made my parents buy me the game, and I've been hooked ever since. If you'd like to see a playthrough, I actually do a let's play of this game on my channel. There's going to be a link somewhere around here. Click the link, it's the annotation, and that should take you straight to that playthrough. I won't talk about it more here because it's all there. Suffice it to say that this game gets my number 6 spot for being that awesome. Number 5. Tetris. Because why? Because Tetris. I mean, seriously, look at this puzzle game. This puzzle game took the world by storm. And the NES version is no exception. The NES version has 3 different kinds of music that you can choose from and 2 different types of games. A-Type is my favorite. Why? Because it changes colors. I was 7. Sue me. I was 7. So, it changes a bunch of different colors every time you get 10 lines, and it gets faster each time, and you have to just try to not mess up, which is, you know, inevitably what I do, because that's how I do. The B game adds different obstacles that show up from the bottom. Different pieces in a random order come up from the bottom, and you have to try to beat them. Really, really fun game. Kind of simplistic, but you know what? Things didn't have to be that hard in, what, 1927? Nope. 1927, Tetris works just fine. Things don't have to be that complicated. Fun game. I could actually remember sitting at my grandfather's house and watching him play Tetris. He was ridiculously good at this game. He would get 200, 300, 400 lines. Not even a problem. Definitely good times. Tetris. Number 5. Number 4. Arkanoid for the NES, an excellent arcade game. Basically, it's one-player Pong. Is it the first game of its kind? Survey says no. But it has story. The mothership's name is Arkanoid, and the spacecraft is named Voz, and you have to destroy these blocks and get stuff. I know, it doesn't sound interesting. But wait, there's more. What this game has that the Atari version didn't is power-ups. What's that? Power-ups? Yes, as you can see, you've got power-ups to make the paddle sticky so you can like carry the ball around, and power-ups that make like 3 different balls to start bouncing around and having a good old time and breaking them blocks and bricks. And you've got lasers for when you just want to pew pew pew. Power-ups that slow down the ball, and you've got a special power-up that transports you to the next level. Good stuff. And you've got 3 different kinds of bricks. You got the regular colored kind that takes 1 hit to destroy, the silver kind that's up top that takes 2 hits to destroy, and you've got the gold bricks, and you can't destroy those at all. Fun stuff. Number 4, Arkanoid. Number 3, Legend of Zelda. Okay, this game wasn't the first role-playing game. It also wasn't the first role-playing game on the NES. What makes this game awesome? Oh, I don't know. Everything. Many years ago, Prince of Darkness Ganon stole one of the Triforce with power. Princess Zelda had one of the Triforce with wisdom. She divided it into 8 units to hide it from Ganon before she was captured. Go find the 8 units, Link, to save her. Okay, so it's starting to sound like your classical quest for the magical MacGuffins to go save the princess. There are all these different items that all do different things. They all have a specific purpose to the story. There are a whole bunch of different dungeons, and no one tells you where those are. No one tells you how to unlock them. There are secret passageways and never-ending forests. And there's a magical fairy that you play a magical flute to, and she reveals the magical hidden dungeon underneath the water. You've got a whole bunch of different enemies that all want to kill you in increasingly interesting ways. You've got bombs, and you got bow and arrow, and you get a sword right off the bat, and a bunch of different kinds of swords, and you can buy shields, and you can buy... It's okay. I'll calm down. This game's pretty awesome. It's my number 3. Number 2. Duck Hunt. I'm just kidding. It's actually Super Mario Brothers. As far as nostalgia goes, this is where it begins. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you'll know that I played Mario Brothers games all the time. The sports games, the party games, all kinds of games. But you know what? This was the one that started it all for me. Yeah, I know there's an arcade version of Mario Brothers, but that wasn't it. This was the adventure game. Whole bunch of different kinds of enemies. You got overworld levels, underworld levels, you got the water levels. You've got 1-ups, you got 2 different kinds of power-ups, you got Starmen. You've got levels that repeat endlessly unless you take the right path. What more do you want? Sure, this game was enough to keep my 7-year-old self entertained, but you know what? It's still not easy today. If you want to see my full playthrough for this game, check the annotation that's on the screen now. This is the game that inspired them all, and that's why it finds itself at number 2 in my list. Number 1. Here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm sure many of you saw this coming. As far as the NES games that I own, Super Mario Bros. 3 has it all. In many, many ways, this game was the first of its kind. It was the first game to include a world map that you can navigate and choose which levels you wanted to play in which order. The controls were tight, just like in Mario games prior. And it brought back all the items and power-ups that we know and love, with more to boot. Instead of wandering around aimlessly, enemies and power-ups can now sense Mario's location and choose accordingly where they want to move. All of the levels, unlike in Mario 1, can now scroll in every single direction, up, down, left, and right. You're not bound to the left side of the screen anymore. Yes, Super Mario Bros. 2 kind of solved that problem, but you'll forgive me if I don't really count that one. There are so many secrets to find. There are mushroom houses, there are special slot machine minigames, there's a card game that you could use to get extra items, and in each world there's a special level where if you collect exactly the right number of coins, you unlock a special white mushroom house that gives you a special item to use later in the game. There are little hammer brothers that move around the board, there are fortresses, there are airships. What more do you want in a Mario game? There are 3 whistles that you can collect to take you to a warp zone to warp to future worlds in the game. It's just amazing. Just as with other Mario games, I've also done a playthrough on my channel. Click the annotation on the screen now to check it out, and this makes my number 1 on this list of the top 20 NES titles that I own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the comments.